about restoring our democracy. And this revolution is about stopping this creeping.
Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, my UNC colleagues present, our dear viewers and followers, and you, our supporters present here, a pleasant good evening. As I stand here this evening, I want to give thanks to our honorable political leader for the opportunity to serve, and thank the people of Cunupia, the people of the borough of Chaguanas, and the constituency of Chaguanas East for their confidence in electing me. Today we have entered into the third session of the 12th Parliament. In all my time spent serving, I must admit, being an opposition MP involves the most politics. But I am glad to have those around me who have definitely been the driving force in getting it done. I must say, standing on a platform to speak is indeed a privilege, but speaking about the continuous hardships faced by our citizens is not one that we take pride in doing. But we continue to speak of the hardships being faced by our citizens with the hope of something being done to make things simply better. It is extremely sad, my friends, that whilst this government boasts of how much and how great they are doing as it relates to taking good care of you, the citizens, and mere days after we celebrated our 60th independence, we have to receive phone calls of persons having to walk away from supermarkets after learning that they have not received any money on their food cards for the month of September 2022. Can you imagine the first week of school, parents have to walk out of supermarkets with no food to feed their children? But tonight, no long talk. We are calling on Donna Cox to come clear with citizens and tell us bright and early tomorrow morning, why have food card recipients not received money on their food cards for the month of September? We call on you to answer what has caused this. Is it that you are reviewing again, because you know they love to review? Or is it that your ministry has not received the releases for the month of September to top up cards for food card recipients? You must come out and speak to these recipients and let them know what exactly is happening, since many have no food in their homes as we speak. Just this morning, whilst I was getting dressed to go to Parliament, a gentleman called me and said, "Vandana, we have nothing to eat, Gil. Help us with our 200 self-na just to buy some food. The cupboard's empty." So we are calling on the minister to give us those answers. Those people are awaiting answers. My friends, as I move on, we are at a place where we need answers. When mothers are putting aside shame and standing to say, "I don't want them suffering like I am suffering," with tears flowing from their eyes. When mothers have to cry out about the prices of school supplies being too high and describing it as a burden. When thousands of students missed out on the opportunity of online schooling because their mothers and fathers couldn't afford a device, and we have to sit now and wonder, where are they and what's their future like? And I am not saying these things. Look at the media. Parents complain as new term nears, prices too high. This is from the Trinidad Express. Parents up for second-hand books during back-to-school shopping. And you all would have seen on CNC3 where that mother was begging for her children not to suffer like her. So I am not saying this. It's reported all over the media. When mothers have to resort to begging on the streets to feed their families, when thousands choose to beat the sun and stand up with the hope of receiving a cruise ship job just because of the lack of employment opportunities. What does that tell us as a country? What does that tell Rowley and the PNM? That tells us it is hard out here and really hard out here. That tells us the people are fighting for survival. That tells us the government isn't seeing what the citizens are experiencing. That tells us, most of all, enough is enough and the PNM must now go. Recently, we saw scrap iron dealers protested about their children going back to school. Rather, scrap iron workers protesting about their children going back to school. Why didn't the Minister of Social Development utilize a community center and host a direct impact or a community outreach at one of those community centers in Claxton Bay, where she can bring officers, bring application forms, allow those persons to speak to persons and get the required assistance directly, and allow these workers to access the necessary grants? Instead, do you know what happened? The Prime Minister called these people, these scrap iron workers, thieves. Okay, fine, if some of them do wrong, but why should their children suffer? When you shut them down and these workers have no job, what do you leave them to do? You leave them with no option. What do you think will happen? It will not get better. Things out here will get worse. You cannot shut down an industry without any alternative. It is the same thing they did with the construction sector during the COVID lockdown period. Do you remember that? And they provided no form of support as it relates to relief grants until they were pressured. Up to now, we don't know if those construction sector personnel got any type of assistance. My friends, a few weeks ago on this very same platform, speaking about school books and back to school for these children, these scrap iron workers' children, these suffering mothers' children, these parents who have lost their jobs' children, a few weeks ago on this very same Monday night platform, I mentioned to you that I have never dealt with so many booklets in all my years of serving. And you know, sometimes you ask, what is the PNM doing? What are these ministers doing? But sometimes we as representatives, we have to say thank God for corporate citizens. Today I am proud to say that as an opposition UNC MP in my very own constituency, with the help of corporate Chaguanas, my team, some of who are here tonight, and I, were able to assist with 50 booklets amounting to 50,000 TT dollars. 50 book bags with stationaries and vouchers amounting to 5,000 TT. All in all, $100,000 in assistance for the constituency of Chaguanas East in back-to-school supplies. I say thank you to the business community for their confidence in the constituency of Chaguanas East. And that is the same spirit of all of my UNC colleagues, always trying to assist. And we don't do it on our own. Our political leader is and has always been very serious about our children's education. That is why she ensured that our nation benefited from 95,000 laptops to our Form 1 students. That is why she ensured that poverty was reduced by 7%. My friends, what do you think happens by removing VAT from 7,000 food items? You always hear that happened under the UNC. Do you know what happened? It decreases food bills within the households. My friends, what do you think happens by processing 7,000 certificate of comfort Under the UNC, this happened. You have access to better homes, since you can now access financial support through the various ministries, self-help, NSDP, or even the banks, because you have something to say, this is mine. What do you think happens by increased minimum wage, which happened under the UNC from $9 to $15? This allows for increased income within low-income households. And that, my friends, is how you attack and deal with poverty issues facing your country if you are serious about improving the lives of those facing hardships. Not sit down from the diplomatic center or the Twin Towers as we call it, or elsewhere, and hear the people cry out, gas price too high, flour too high, food prices too high. And speaking about food prices, I want to touch on the school feeding program. On May 8, 2022, it was reported in the Trinidad Guardian, as hard times hit, more mouths to feed in schools, not me, reported on May 8. And it was reported as well that there's a request for 7,000 extra meals through the school feeding program. Do you know what happened prior to that 8th of May 2022? On April 22nd, 2022, we called on the government to revise the school feeding program by expanding the school feeding program to cater for more students who are in urgent need of this program. When we called for the extension, the minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries, Avinash Singh, said, by me calling for the expansion of this particular program, the school feeding program, he almost doubted himself, and I quote, as though the program was stopped. So we call for the expansion, he think we call for it to stop. And that is their intellect. My friends, school has started. The PNM continues to cut food cards, and that's a fact. Parents are struggling to meet daily expenses in an attempt to recover from the effects of COVID-19. And we have not heard anything. We have not heard anything about the request for 7,000 extra meals under the school feeding program. And we are calling tonight for the government to answer to this. If nothing has been done to make provisions for these additional 7,000 meals under the school feeding program, then, my friends, that is a total neglect of our children of Trinidad and Tobago. So, friends, you have heard it. The PNM continues to fail our people. They continue to fail our children. We, as a UNC, must remain united, as we must work hard to remove this PNM government and save our nation's children. With that being said, God bless our political leader, God bless our party, and I thank you very much.
Come on! Cause this is the revolution, the people's revolution. This is the revolution. I wanna hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom.